In any negotiation, we've got to find a way to effectively work with the other negotiators so that we can resolve our dispute or strike that deal. This requires effective communication, rapport building, and trust, which can be difficult in any setting, but deserves special attention when we find ourselves negotiating in this online environment, whether that's over Zoom or any other video conferencing platform. Professor Noam Ebner warns that as video conferencing software becomes more and more advanced, we tend to become complacent, and asks that we maintain that intentional approach and make sure that we pay attention to how that software is impacting our ability to communicate, read each other's body language, and build trust with our fellow negotiators. We're all becoming more and more familiar with the notion of Zoom fatigue, that hyper-vigilant reading of body language just slightly out of sync with verbal and paraverbal communication. And then there's the lack of eye contact. There's some cultural assumptions baked into this, but research is showing that the placement of our webcams and the difficulty of looking each other in the eye is leading to a sense of mistrust. So as you embark on your semester and face negotiating over a video conference platform, we wanted to put together a few tips that'll help you be more intentional in your approach and increase the likelihood that you'll have effective communication, build rapport, as well as trust in this online environment. So tip number one, really think about your space. Think about how and where you place your computer. So one, some people use a 2-monitor system. You want to make sure that the webcam is on the same screen as the video conference display. If you have to use that second screen for notes, be transparent and let others on the video know what you're doing when you turn your face away. This is true if you're looking anywhere that isn't within the viewing area for others. So if you're looking down at your desk where you've got printed notes or off screen somewhere, just be transparent so you can do everything you can to decrease that likelihood of a sense of mistrust. Raise your monitor so that the webcam allows you to look directly into it as opposed to looking up or looking down. You might consider a laptop stand or using those big casebooks you have lying around to just lift the monitor up a few inches. And then let's talk about your background. As we invite people into our homes, we're creating opportunities to build affiliation and connection. Maybe somebody else likes plants or notices a music poster. But it's also highlighting the disparities. While some folks work from palatial home offices, others might be working out of the basement. Consider using a virtual background or just placing your computer so that a blank wall is behind you. I tend to use a room divider or screen. Tip number 3, think about your sound. It can be helpful to use headphones. In many cases, it increases the sound quality so that there's not so much of an echo, but it also can provide some confidentiality. So Tiger King reference, we don't want any Jeff Lowe's lurking in the background, listening in on a conversation when nobody else on the call knows they're there. Tip number 3, use gallery view. Most of these video conferencing platforms default on a speaker view that shows one person, the person who is speaking, as the main display. But you want to be able to see everyone, just like you were in a conference room. So consider changing your display to the gallery view, which leads me to tip number 4. I recommend hiding self view. Yeah, you want to use self view to make sure as the video conference begins that people can see your face, your neck, your shoulders, that you're placed within the viewing area for everyone else on the call. But once you've done that and set it up, consider turning it off. It can be incredibly distracting to yourself to see the video of yourself and just make sure and double checking all the time. But in doing that double checking and looking over at yourself, it's also distracting for others on the call. Tip number 5, have a backup plan. If there's technical issues, what are you going to do? Do you have another means of contacting the other negotiator? So consider exchanging phone numbers at the start so that you can call or text each other and decide if you're going to try to restart the video conference or move to another medium altogether. And last but not least, tip number 6, video conference platforms aren't just a communication intermediary. That may be their main function, but they include other features that might enhance your negotiation as well, so consider using them. Many of you are watching this video as part of a negotiation class. Consider recording your negotiation so you can review it and improve your skills by reflecting on what worked and what didn't. Many classes assign a video recorded negotiation for students and faculty to review together. And when negotiating via Zoom, you can easily record your session without having to set up any additional equipment. It captures your negotiation in first-person perspective, which better replicates what it's like for someone else to sit across from you and negotiate, whether you're in person or online. So consider recording additional simulations that aren't necessarily assigned so that you can review your progress and skill improvement. Of course, get your classmates' permission before doing so. In the real world, you might find that the record function acts as a note-taking tool, capturing information for use later when reviewing the progress of a deal. It also, of course, creates issues regarding confidentiality and privacy. So just like with a classmate, make sure to communicate with others on the call if you plan to record or what the confidentiality and privacy expectations are. There's also the chat function. You can use it to share files or as a second medium to communicate, which can be helpful when working in large group negotiations as a way to communicate without interrupting the speaker. But just like when writing notes with someone in a face-to-face negotiation, this can also be distracting, so do so with care. Oh, and if the negotiation is being recorded, just know that your chat, whether it's to the entire group in the main session or private, is captured and made available to the hosts. Then you've got the screen share function and whiteboards. And these are amazing features that allow you to directly collaborate with the other side, using visuals, sharing documents, working out the numbers to a deal. The point is that Zoom and other platforms offer more than the ability to see each other over video. These additional features can enhance your negotiation if used appropriately. And don't feel limited to the features embedded in Zoom or whatever platform you're using. If you're meeting online, you now have the ability to access all other online tools. They're at your fingertip. Use them in tandem with your other negotiators. Things like research software, collaborative document creation, litigation analytics, right? The possibilities are endless. So yes, video conference negotiations require you to be that much more vigilant in your setup and attention to communication. But it also presents the opportunity to enhance your negotiation with additional tools and features, so don't be afraid to use them. We wish you the best of luck as you develop and hone your negotiation skills and hope these tips will support and guide you along the way.